So North America just decided to make a really crazy change, and I guess this is North and South America. Mark Zimmerman tweeted out this a couple of days ago. He said, LTA update, we just passed a temporary policy for Split 1 to allow LTA teams to stream scrims during the split. Fans in some teams have been asking, we are excited to clear the way to make it happen. Now, this has been an extremely controversial and polarizing issue with a ton of people on both sides. I maybe have a different opinion than a lot of other people out there, but this is going to be very interesting. Now, a big reason why LTA teams have wanted to stream scrims, it was like a tongue twister for me, has been because, one, we have seen the success of teams like Los Ratones right now, even like the Rudy Sack, some of the teams over in Europe who have started to be able to stream their like ERL scrims and stuff like that, and they've built up some fan base and they've built up some success, and it's helping their social medias and their streams grow, and it's helping them make more money and get more fans and all that. But at the same time, I will say that no North American teams or North American players, especially in the league currently right now, or even any of these brands, or even the LTA in general, they're not Los Ratones. They're not what is going on overall right now in the NLC or in the ERLs or whatever. So I don't know if this is going to be as big of a move as people think, but people are at least... I think what is cool and what is at least worth trying is people are wanting to try something different. Obviously, we see that what is happening right now in North America is not working. The last couple of years in North American League of Legends, even though we've had teams make it farther at Worlds than like the LEC or something like that, viewership kind of continues to stagnate or drop, even though we continue to make some kind of changes here and there. We make some positive, adjustments to the broadcast or whatever. Things just kind of keep not looking so good. And even in this most recent Split 1, viewership numbers are down. Once again, things are not looking that great. Even though, like some people said, we had some really amazing series between, some of the top teams in North America over this past weekend. The viewership still was not really there. So people are saying, hey, maybe if we start streaming these scrims, maybe it's another way to get people excited. Maybe it's a way to connect with fans. Maybe it's a way to one, keep fans interested throughout the week, because right now we only have like the games on the weekend, so maybe you can have some content and stuff coming out during the week, but also historically, most esports teams, and especially the teams in North America, haven't, especially the last couple of years, have not been so great about making content, like YouTubes and Twitch streams and stuff like that. And obviously, pro players are very busy, and, people say they wish pros had more personality and streamed more and all that stuff. So now people are saying, hey, maybe we can knock out two birds with one stone. Maybe we can stream at the same time that we're scrimming, and maybe that can be a cool thing. And a lot of people out there are saying, hey, maybe just anything and everything is worth trying out at this point to maybe get some excitement about the LCS, maybe get some excitement about the LTA North, maybe bring in some new fans or keep some old fans or whatever. But again, like I said, I'm at least a little bit skeptical. I don't really think that these are going to be that popular long term. I could see the first couple of, stream scrims getting excited and people tuning in or whatever. But I also think a lot of the people getting mad and saying, oh, stream scrims is ridiculous and it's killing competitive integrity and blah, 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 blah. There's definitely some downsides. I get it. People say, hey, scrims are a place that you're supposed to try stuff out. You're supposed to fail. You learn from your failures. You learn from going for big plays. You learn from limit testing and all that stuff. And people might be afraid to do that in front of the fans on a streamed scrim. Also, if people do go for stuff like that in stream scrims, maybe they're going to get flamed, which I think is the most lame excuse ever. I think we are so kind of scared or sensitive in the League of Legends competitive community that people are like, oh, if there's anything that can happen that if somebody could potentially get flamed by, then we shouldn't do it. And I really don't agree with stuff like that or think that's necessarily the case. But so I don't think we shouldn't stream the scrims because people might get flamed, but I do think people should feel comfortable and available to try stuff, to limit test, to go for broke, to actually practice. And that shouldn't necessarily be looked at like games. But I will also say at the same time, in traditional sports, sometimes practice environments are available to like media and stuff like that. Yeah, are like NFL teams or NBA teams like streaming their practices or streaming their scrims or whatever? No. But again, sometimes you do have open workouts or practices that are open to media and stuff like that, and you can see your players practice stuff like that. It's not like practice is always this entirely closed off environment where you can't show anything and everything. And also at the same time, yeah, people are saying, oh, you got to be careful about leaking your drafts or your strategies or blah, 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 blah. But like, one, most of the time in League of Legends, most teams are following a pretty standard meta and game plans and stuff like that. Yeah, does every once in a while somebody has like a cheese strategy or a pocket pick or a couple crazy drafts? Guess what? You can practice those and you're not stream scrims if you want. But I also don't really think that's the case that right now that North America has so many cutting edge strategies that absolutely can't leak out to the rest of the world or to their LTA South rivals or to the other NA teams or blah, 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 blah. I do think that maybe, if this is something that gets popular or people end up enjoying, it's something that could work out for NA. But overall, at the end of the day, to me, this is kind of a big nothing burger. I don't really think it's going to have the negative consequences that a lot of the doomers out there are talking about, but I also don't really think it's going to move the needle much as a big exciting thing. Like I said, I think the first couple ones could get some decent viewership. I think after that, it probably won't be that interesting or exciting, and people won't really care about LTA practice sessions or scrims that much. Again, this is not Los Ratones. This is something much, much, much less interesting to, many people out there. So I don't really think it's going to be that big of a deal. Again, if you're not tuning into the LTA, why would you be turning into LTA scrims? Or why would that be something you're excited or caring about? It just doesn't really make much sense to me. So I think most people are freaking out too much about something that's ultimately not really going to matter that much. We did have Jungle Juice, the VP of Esports for 100 Thieves, chiming in on this. He said, my thoughts on the streaming discussion around LTA North. First, I'm of the opinion that it's overall a good decision for the league. Anything that can increase the amount of surface area that the fans and community can interface with is a step that's good for the product. Sure. Yes, there are clear downsides, but I don't really see clear alternative, realistically actionable proposals that can have as large of an impact that we can initiate across the board given current resources, which again, I agree with that. To people saying that, hey, this is a bad thing, my counter and his counter apparently would be, hey, well, what else can we do? What are we going to do? If you don't want to do this as content or ways to activate your brand or engage with your fan base, then what are you going to do? And right now, most other teams out there, their answer would be nothing, very little, or we don't know, or some stuff that nobody cares about. And that's a problem with the LTA in North and with the LCS over the past couple of years, and maybe even like throughout most of the history of North American League of Legends, that they've done a very, very bad job, of keeping fans, growing fan bases, getting people excited, outside of like maybe the heyday of the LCS back in the day. But even then, people were saying, and I was one of the people saying they could and should be doing more. With that being said, this should definitely be a decision that should be made by the league collaboratively. It's a nuanced topic, and the perception around how we prioritize ourselves as a region competitively and precedent for the future isn't something we should take lightly. I felt always playing ahead thoughts on this from a player point of view summarize it perfectly. More importantly, we certainly shouldn't paint organizations in a negative light that don't want to opt in, especially in this format. Because again, this split one format is like very, very short. You don't get to play very many matches. There's like more incentive to actually hide those pocket picks and strategies and stuff like that, especially in Fearless Draft, where, Jungle Juice has said, hey, maybe in Split 2 things make more sense, where we have like double best of one round robin, and then he thinks, maybe teams don't have as much of an excuse to not be opting in at that point. This current split has a brutal format, is a double best of elimination format. We already see teams out for 2 months until next season. It's very unforgiving, but also those teams who are already out, maybe they should be scrimming and streaming those scrims and stuff for the next couple months, and they don't have anything to hide anyway. I don't know. Frankly, when the conversation was brought up, there's a lot on the line for a lot of the fringe teams, whether it was elimination or qualification in the New Americas tournament. If this truly were a non-factor, now that both us and C9 LOL are locked into the Americas tournament, would FlyQuest be open to streaming scrims with either of us this week? I mentioned this in other threads, but Split 2 as a forgiving format with a double round robin would actually be an ideal time for orgs to work collectively on piloting something like this, and this was what we communicated privately when this was proposed to us. I do want to see the region level up, and I do want to see both players and organizations have opportunities to grow their fandom, but ultimately that starts with putting the interests of all in mind, not a select few. I know people asked Mark Z, why is this temporary? What is the downside? And Mark Z sees some of the downsides. As we have some guidelines and restrictions around it, we want to make sure the effects are positive and incorporate any feedback adjustments where needed. We also had guys like Soaz and tons of other people in the LOL community. He's just the tweet that I saw. It's not like I specifically care about what Soaz has to say about this topic, where he said, streaming scrims just screams league is dying. We need people to care, which I do think this is a little bit of a desperation move, but hey, it is what it is. It will ruin everything about competitive. I strongly disagree. That's like way hyperbolic. Unless you are a streamer team doing both competitive funds like Los Ratones, zero respect for teams that want to stream their practice in major leagues. Again, I don't have zero respect for these teams. I don't think it will ruin everything about competitive, but I do agree that, hey, this is not Los Ratones. They're doing a different thing for a different reason. And LTA is not Los Ratones. Not even close. FlyQuest did say we got this big announcement, though, that this is apparently going to happen tomorrow. FlyQuest, it's finally happening tomorrow. FlyQuest versus Cloud9, streamed scrims. Two of the biggest, best, most popular teams in North America are going to be doing this. So if it's going to work for anybody, it's going to be these teams. You know, FlyQuest, Cloud9, 100 Thieves, TL. Those are the teams who are going to need to make this thing work and make this thing happen if we're going to see it. So I don't know. We're going to see how this thing goes down tomorrow. Also, they're allowing people to co-stream it, which is pretty cool. They said if you want to co-stream it, just put at FlyQuest in the title when you're live. Maybe that'll be some other opportunities for some big broadcasters. Maybe like if Cadrill or Dominate or somebody like that, you know, streams it, co-streams it. Maybe that could help this whole thing out. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Either way, like I said, I don't really think the people who are happy or upset about this really have that many reasons to be. But we'll have to wait and see how this goes. Pretty much it was the video today, guys. Hopefully catch you next one. Until then, peace.